do a poem, and then I'll do a little bit of singing. And the poem, it's funny, we were just discussing how when you're unemployed, you have to take any job you're offered. Such are the rules. And so I was having a conversation earlier this week about what the implication would be, especially for a Quaker like myself, who is devoted to telling the truth. And so I wrote this poem yesterday, which is a setup for another joke, but bear with me. But I did genuinely write it this week. It's called My Other Career. It's really tough when you're unemployed. You have to give every opportunity a try. So despite my religious commitment to truth, I had to become the world's first Quaker spy. Now, Quakers believe in simply telling the truth, and I was a bit nervous about the suggestion that they'd say, "We have ways of making you talk," and I'd reply, "Sure, just ask me a question." Training was hard. "What do you think now?" they'd ask, with an angle-poised lamp shining straight in my eyes. And I'd say, "There's a light that still dwells in all of us that represents the presence of the eternal divine." The first place they sent me was over to Russia, and I was determined not to be caught in a lie. Whenever asked what I did in the embassy, I'd just shrug my shoulders and say, "Well, I'm a spy." The weird thing was that this just made folk laugh. They'd say, "Wouldn't you deny it if you were a spy?" And I'd ask why I'd want to mislead them. You know, it's not easy being the world's first Quaker spy. At ambassadors' receptions, I smuggled out papers, until I was caught in the kitchen by this burly Russian guy. "You trying to escape?" he demanded to know. And I said, "You think I'm down here trying to make the stir fry?" He asked me what I knew about the war in Ukraine. And I said, "Well, everything. I'm only here as a spy." He radioed his boss. He said, "Look, it's just some sarcastic chef." So I made him some burgers, some salad and fries. I've never quite understood why no one believed me. I'd hide in the shadows in dark suits and a tie. I'd answer yes to each taxi driver who confidently told me, "Dressed like that, mate, you know, you should be a spy." When the truth's too outrageous for you to believe, when we live in a world built on comfortable lies, when no one expects honesty or being who you are, you can make a really good living as the world's first Quaker spy.